Hey guys, welcome to the stream. This is Simon from Redline Motorsport.co.uk. Today we have Assetto course of Competizione. This is season 2 of round 3. This is tier 1 of 5. And today we're at Silverstone. So this is an endurance race, 90 minutes long with a mandatory pit stop somewhere in the middle. We also have Nico's streaming tier 3 on our YouTube channel, so do check that out. And also we've got Random Call Sign streaming tier 2 on his YouTube channel. Yeah, so do check those out, guys. Yeah, so we've got three tiers streaming tonight out of the 5 tiers. So, and all of them are commentated, so it's quite nice. Yeah, so be myself commentating tonight on tier 1 along with Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hey Simon, it's nice to be back after our excitement of the 3 hours as older that we had in the weekend between this event and Brands Hatch. It's nice to be back on a circuit much more familiar with, and hopefully one that should provide a lot more opportunities for overtaking. Absolutely,
yeah. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, definitely not nice wide track, as you say. It's compared to Zolder. So yeah, plenty of opportunities for overtaking here. So yeah, it's literally so going down to the cars, the brake pads they're using now, because that's obviously a new feature, isn't it? Brake discs and pads. So depending on the brake pads people begin using, might change their braking distances as well. So.
Yes, that is correct. There's different types of brake pads and discs that can be fitted. Those that are better suited for qualifying lap times or endurance, stint, and all the sorts. So nice to see that be included in the game with the most recent updates, along with the new in-game livery editor, which you will probably notice that quite a few people have got slightly changed liveries, or they will now be running a custom livery compared to one of the stock liveries. Some people are still running stock liveries, but that is fine. Yeah, so nice little livery editor added in the latest update as well, so we should have a much more diverse range of colours on the grid as well now.
Absolutely, yeah, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to see people's art skills, as we say. Yeah, obviously there's been a few other changes as well to ACC, obviously with the new update. So we had a new update just today as well. So we're now actually running V1.2.3, which is quite nice. Also noticed there's new little bars next to the drivers' names just before the car logos. Which is sort of representing their ping levels, we believe. But yeah, I did mention to one of the guys in our group that it would be nice if we had some sort of idea of tyre wear and stuff for endurance races. I mean, that would be a really good key for us to keep an eye on people's tyre wear and things for longer endurance races, which we are looking to have planned for 2020. Yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. If you're obviously new here, don't forget to obviously like, follow, subscribe. So we're streaming on Twitch with tier 1. We've got tier 3 streaming on our YouTube channel. And Random Call Sign is streaming tier 3 on his YouTube channel. So do check those links out. They're all posted in our Discord, so do check that out. And also there's links on our YouTube channel in the description as well for those other tiers. So yeah, so we've got 3 tiers being commentated out of 5 today, so which is quite nice. Ideally, we'd love to get a few more commentators and streamers involved, so we can get all 5 tiers streamed and commentated. I mean, that would be absolutely amazing. So hopefully, if any of you guys are up to that sort of stuff, then do come along to Discord and send me a message. That'd be really much appreciated. But anyway, we've got just over 2 minutes left to practice, 15 minutes qualify, and then it's a 90-minute race. What I'll do as well, let's bring up the standings board. So these are the current standings so far after 2 rounds, so this is the 3rd round. So current Andre Frankie is holding P1 at the moment. And then you've seen a few guys have got penalties and DQ there as well. So yeah, lots can happen early on in the races. We do obviously, oh, see Fabio in there crash into the wall. So lucky that's practice. We'll be doing that in the race.
Yeah, and as you were just saying about Fabian going into the wall, he's gone back to pit lane now, but Rubernek as well had also just had a bit of an off, and that might be one of the things that we kind of have to look into. Brands Hatch is a very punishing circuit for mistakes, usually because of the small runoffs that you get, but Silverstone is a very technical track. There are a lot of very difficult corners on this circuit that, you know, can come at you quite thick and fast. Of course, there's maggots and buckets, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows about this circuit by now, but, you know, corners like Luffield as well, where you need to get a good exit coming out of there onto the start-finish straight. There's a lot of technical corners on this circuit, and that's going to be something that Monza and Brands Hatch didn't have as many of compared to Silverstone, with Monza being a bit more of a simple nature, with lots of slow chicanes and the occasional fast corners.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, I quite enjoy this circuit actually. I mean, not a lot of people do, but this is quite a bumpy track actually, as we saw from Eris's YouTube video the other day when he was doing some setup works to give you guys a bit of understanding of the new flex in the chassis, which is obviously completely changed ACC and how you set up the cars. So yeah, so a lot of people, we've had quite a few people moaning about it, and obviously because it's early on and people are thinking, oh, not ready for the race because obviously there's news updates, but yeah, unfortunately everyone has to go through the same thing. You know, it's going to be new to everyone. But the main thing is obviously, you know, that they're improving the physics as the game goes on, you know, and also to bring chassis flex into the equation makes it, you know, more advanced than any other sims out there at the moment.
Yeah, it does, and it's always nice to see updates like this. I, for one, I've actually found the update with the flex chassis and all that. It's made me slightly quicker, so I'm not too sure what that means about my driving style. Whether it just didn't fit the cars before this update or whatnot. But yeah, there has been a lot of people talking about how different the cars feel now, and you can definitely feel it. You know, cars. I think it was a lot of the Porsche drivers were talking about how different the Porsche feels now as well, so that could be something to look out for, because the Porsches have done fairly well at both Monza and Brands Hatch, so it's going to be interesting to see with the new update how they fare here at Silverstone.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, just right. If you just keep everyone busy a second, I just need to just do something quickly. Because apparently our thing saying stream test. It shouldn't be saying stream test. I did change this earlier, so I don't know why it's changed.
Right, well, with practice over, we are on towards our 15-minute qualifying session. We do have 25 drivers here today, so quite a complete grid, which is always nice to see. Of course, our winner last time out, is it Paolo Muia? He will be looking to do very well again today, and so will Amir Hosseini, who put up a great fight towards the end of the Brands Hatch race. But eventually, with the rain descending, he was not able to mount a challenge. But we have clear skies here today, which is quite nice, although that could change going into the race. But I think a lot of people here will be hoping for a dry race, because we haven't had one yet in Tier 1, not a fully dry race anyway. So I think quite a few people will be hoping for a race today where the weather and the track temperature doesn't change too much.
Absolutely, yeah. As you say, anything can happen, can't it, with ACC and the weather. I mean, hopefully we might be in for a dry one, but like you said, we never know. I mean, it's a 90-minute race. Let's look at the forecast. I mean, it's showing light clouds at the moment, a 15 degrees C, track temps at 19 C, and it's clear. So unless something really drastic happens, which we have seen before in season 1, where guys started practicing in the rains, qualifying, it was nice and clear, and then come the race, it was an absolute storm. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, but hopefully I imagine it's going to stay pretty clear for the whole duration, looking at the current weather conditions at the moment.
Yeah, having said that, this track is located in the United Kingdom, which of course increases the rain probability by at least 50%, so you do have to keep that in mind, as we are in the winter months right now. So there's always a chance for rain, but we should hopefully be in for a fairly dry race today, barring any unusual weather forecasts that will come out of nowhere again, just like they did at Brands Hatch for the final 6 minutes.
Absolutely, yeah. So so it looks like Chris has just started his hot lap, so let's see how we get on there. So a couple guys on the hot lap right now. So yeah, we'll stay on board with Chris at the moment to see how he does in the Aston Martin.
And it's important to know that we haven't had an Aston Martin on the podium yet. I think it was James Parker in Brands Hatch was fighting for the podium with Kevin Seclari, I believe it was, for the last podium place at Brands Hatch. But then an unfortunate accident with Kevin Seclari did mean that James Parker did lose out on that podium chance. So that's quite unfortunate for him. Monza was not a very good track for the Aston Martins, but they knew that going into that race. But they're looking quite strong here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what sort of lap times are we looking to get at the moment? About 157s? I'm sure that's pretty achievable here at Silverstone.
Yeah, low 157s, maybe a break into the 56.
Well,
as I say that, Rasuka just goes to 57 flat, so I've been proven wrong immediately as Moya goes almost 2/10 faster.
Oh, there we go. So great to see there. So yeah, that was on board with Chris. So we will just jump over to some other drivers in a minute and just see how we're doing.
Sorry to interrupt, but as soon as Moya went faster than Chris, Amir Hosseini has gone faster and now has Andre Frankie in the Porsche number 75 of 156.5. That is a very quick lap time around here. So half a second off braking into the 155s. Not sure if we'll see that in qualifying. Would be nice to see. But yeah, 156.5 for a first lap round is really, really impressive.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that was Andre Frankie who's managed to get pole at the moment. We just jump on board with, well, I just say we jump on with Ramir, but looks like he's stopping on the track there. So I might have to give him a warning for that. We'll see how he gets on, as long as he don't do that again. But it looks like he's trying to get a bit of gap open so he could get his get a good run for his lap. So I'll tell you what, we might just jump on board. I say that, but it looks like he's messing around at the moment, just warming the tyres up, so we won't jump on board yet with him, because it looks like he's going to be on a proper lap right now.
Yeah, it's something to keep in mind with this circuit. Unlike Monza, which is a circuit in which the slipstream can help you so much, if you can get a toe on the back straight and the front straight, you can easily gain 3 to 4 tenths of a second on a lap time, even in these kinds of cars. So Yeah, a slipstream at somewhere like Monza is incredibly important. Here, not so much. The straights are a lot shorter, and there are quite a few twisty sections where you really don't want to be catching up to the back of another car. So there's going to be quite a few people here, wanting to find around a 2-second gap between each car at least.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll see how that goes for a minute. But yeah, still, Andre Frank is still holding P1 with a 156.5. Amir is a 156.580, so he's just over 0.07 of a second slower than Andrew Frankie. So some pretty crazy close times there.
Yeah, and of course we do have a guest here tonight in the McLaren 111. We have Rubernek, who is currently sitting third in qualifying. Very impressive from him in his first outing here in the championship.
Absolutely, yeah. Just bear with us, guys. We might have a few issues with. Oh no, Discord's come back, so we should be alright. It's Ryan went a little bit robot-y then, but it looks like we should be fine. Fingers crossed, anyway.
Things that are out of our hands, unfortunately.
That's it, yeah. So as you said, yeah, we got Kevin Rebnak in here as a nice guest driver. So like I said, he was the McLaren Shadow. So also absolutely great to have him on board with us to do some racing today. And as you said, we've got a few the other devs in here as well. So you got Kevin. I'll just say that we've just got a new faster lap time now. With you don't believe the times here. If I bring the timing boards up a second, so you can see the difference between Andre Frankie and David here. Yeah, 0.003 of a second between these guys at the moment for P1. I mean, that is absolutely insane. So, and two different cars as well. So, good to show the Aston's got some pace in there.
Yeah, it's really nice to see the cars, how balanced they seem to be as well between each other. But like you're saying, so close up the top, and this is kind of what we were hoping to see, wasn't it? We were hoping to see it be really, really close at the top. It's something that in the Porsche Cup that we have on the bi-weekly Mondays is something that myself and Fabian have not really been able to enjoy that much, is the qualifying, due to there being a significant gap between the pole sitter and second place. But here it is incredibly close. The top 7 split by 0.3 of a second.
No, this is insane, and as we've seen in chat here, top 17 within 1 second of each other. I mean, that's some crazy close lap times there. So yeah, great to see this with the Tier 1 drivers. So who's your money on today then, Ryan? Who you think is going to be taking this endurance race home from today?
Oh, you've put me on the spot here. Right, well...
Oh, it's only because you did it to me last week.
Well, look, we had an incredibly impressive race by some of the Mercedes boys out in Monza. Does not look like they're going to be as competitive here tonight. Andre Frankie, who was our winner at Monza, he is right up there, so he'd probably be quite a good bet for me. Mainly just because, he when he was at Monza, he bided his time behind the Mercedes so well, and then capitalised on the mistakes of others brilliantly, and he had pretty much a faultless race. So I'd have to say that he's probably one of the favourites to win today. But Kevin Robernek, the guest we have here in the McLaren today, he is exceptionally quick.
Yeah, if you just see, he's just got pole now at the moment with a 156.379. Let's put him just over 1/10 ahead of P2. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But then we have got a 90-minute race. So it's a 90-minute race. We have got a mandatory pit stop. So again, pit strategies are going to really come into play here, and also the weather. We don't know what the weather's going to do. So yeah, so it could really mix things up. So we'll have to see as we get later on into the race. But who knows? It could rain. It could stay dry.
So considering I have given my predictions or thoughts on who I think is some of the favourites, who are your favourites for the race then, Simon?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, Andre Frankie has got the consistency, isn't he? And he's got very good pit strategy. As we found out between him and Mike Noble when they did the 3 hours of Zolder. I mean, the thing is the Porsche going to be fast enough here? Like I said, when considering the McLaren's nearly 1/10 quicker at the moment in the qualifying. And obviously, how's that going to reflect over those 90 minutes? So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one. We say that as Maria is I can't say his name, excuse me, to apologise. Yeah, Maria has managed to get P1. Excuse me. That's right, I was looking at something else then and just literally totally forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, Maria's to move up to P2, sorry. So he's now made it close that gap slightly, but still 1/10 off of P1. But yeah, going back to what I'm saying, I think, yeah, Andre Frankie at the moment, he's currently winning the championship at the moment, holding P1 over the last 2 rounds. So I think he will end up taking P1 today. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close race with him and Kevin in P1 at the moment, I think. But yeah,
someone in the chat just asking why is Robernek red on the timing board. The reason for that is because he is a guest tonight, very much like Mr. Panker and of course Kevin Stuck. They are guests tonight to fill in for those that have signed out, so that's the main reason as to why they have red labels on their numbers.
Absolutely. So I just want to say here as well is just jump over to Samir, because he's now managed to do a quicker lap time, which has brought him 300ths of a second off of Kevin's time. So we can definitely see that the Aston Martin is very competitive here on Silverstone. I mean, British car, you should expect it. But so is the McLaren.
Yeah, and just looking at it, Amir Hosseini and James Parker have actually set the same lap time, but because Hosseini set it first, he is ahead in the qualifying order at the moment.
That is pretty crazy. Yeah, it's got 45 seconds left for the qualifier. I'll just quickly break up the board there quickly so you guys can have a quick look at the timings. And then we just see who's... Well, Kevin's in the pits at the moment. You've got David, who's P4 in the pits. Samir's gone into the pits now, so...
Yeah, I think looking at it now, it's going to be Paolo Muia, Andre Franchi, or Amir Hosseini who are realistically going to challenge for that pole position. They're the only ones out on track that are within 2.5 tenths of that lap time already with their fastest lap. So realistically, I wouldn't expect anyone currently outside of the top 10 to be challenging for that pole position lap time. As we get confirmation that qualifying is now over, we're just waiting for the laps to be completed.
Yeah, I just want to say as well, I just noticed Kevin did manage to get a faster lap time on his last lap before we jumped into the pit, so he did improve his time by just under 200ths of a second off of Samir, because Samir was 300ths of a second off, so he has improved there. But
yeah,
like I said,
just looking down the field, it's half a second from 1st to 12th, which is incredibly close. I mean, you think usually in a grid that you would be racing in that, you know, you could get a 10th or 2 and it would, you know, in some cases it might not move you up the grid at all. But, you know, in this case, if you were sitting 12th and you went 2 tenths faster, you could, you know, be sitting potentially as high as, you know, 7th or 6th.
Absolutely. I mean, this is more like touring cars, really, isn't it? Times. This is sort of close to the times they normally get together. So yeah, it's good to see this in a GT3 field. So Amir didn't go quicker that time, unfortunately. He was 1/10 slower. Looks like Patrick Selva is out still at the moment.
Paolo Muia did not improve on his time either, so he will stay P3 for now.
So yeah, so just Patrick Silva at the moment, so as he's just about to come over the line. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. Hopefully that's not a problem, but screens have just gone off. And we have had no qualifying times up, so I don't know what has gone on there. I'll see if I can try and bring it back.
I was going to say, I can run you through the order if you need be.
Yeah, just run us through the order, because for some reason, I don't know why, just had a little bug there, a little glitch, and we didn't get to see the qualifying, the final qualifying times that usually pop up on screen.
Right, well, with a 156.361, it is Kevin Rebernak that takes pole position here for the 90 minutes of Silverstone, followed by Samir Ibrahimi, who's going to be alongside him. He was just under half a tenth of a second behind Kevin Rebernak, which is incredibly close between the front two, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the grid didn't have quick lap times either. Just over a tenth of a second behind in third, Paolo Muia, followed by David Martinez, Andre Franchi, Amir Hosseini, James Parker, Kevin Seclari, Steve Strello, and Chris Hooker line up for your top 10. The rest of the field in order are Christian Manu, Patrick Selva, Mike Noble, Vicky Thompson, Raffaele Dinardo, Marcel Pfister, Pau Costa, Luca Lossio, Samuel Ratz, Miguel Ramos, Christian Veal, Fabian Schmidberger, Francisco Gonzalez, Gergo Panker, and Kevin Stuck rounds up the field in 25th.
There we go, excellent. So yeah, while we've got a little bit of time to kill, I will just bring up the current standings on there. If you're able to run through that quickly with them, Ryan, we'll just want to set up the cameras ready for this round. So I'll just put this up on screen now, so you guys can see the current standings.
Yep, so as Simon alluded to earlier, Andre Franchi does lead the championship with 48 points. He had the win out in Monza, and he took 5th place at Brands Hatch as well, so he leads the way in the championship at the moment, but he is not the only one on 48 points.
No, so that is going to be interesting. I'll just pop that up again quickly, so you guys can quickly just see that, so you can see there's joint first place at the moment.
Yes, he is joint first with Daniel Pasquale in the Mercedes. He managed to bag a 2nd place at Monza and, of course, a 4th at Brands Hatch. However, looking down the grid, he is one of the sign-outs tonight, so he will not be present to score points here. So, assuming that Andre Franchi scores points, he will definitely lead the championship, assuming he finishes in front of all those behind him. We have Kevin Seclari in 3rd with 46 points, 2 third places in a row for him, so do not count him out of a good finish here today. Very consistent driver. Paolo Muia, 9th place in Monza, but 1st in Brands Hatch, so he did very well last time out. And just to run through the rest of the top 10 in the championship order, we have Steve Strelau in 5th with 37. 6th place, Chris Hooker with 34. James Parker in 7th with 34. Christian Veal in 8th with 34. Danilo Santoro with 29. He's in 9th place. And David Planiol in 10th place with 28 points.
Absolutely, so yeah, awesome stuff. So what I will just do as well, I'll just link you guys the links to each of the tiers that are getting commentated tonight, so you guys can see that. Obviously we're doing tier 1, we've got random call sign doing tier 2, Unfortunately, I didn't spread out across how I was expecting it to. Unfortunately, in chat, so do hopefully you won't find it too confusing. And tier 3 is ran off our Redline YouTube channel with Nico over there. So yeah, do have a look through. I said 3 of the tiers are 3 out of the 5 tiers are being streamed and commentated tonight. So hopefully the other tiers have a good race tonight as well. It'll be interesting to see how they're getting on over there and who's currently holding pole from the qualifying.
Yes, and something interesting to note, Samir Ibrahimi has obviously qualified second place for the 90 Minutes with Silverstone here tonight. It's important to note in the championship, he doesn't actually have any points on the board. So this is a massive opportunity for him to score big tonight.
Yes, yeah, that's because he did end up retiring from the race, and that's why he didn't get the point. This is why it's always best to stay in the race, because at least you're always going to get points, no matter how bad of a race you have. Okay, just bear with me a second. My second camera is doing something weird.
Right, well, we are underway for the formation lap, as Kevin Rebernak has led us off. So remember, they will do formation lap in single file, and then before they get back to the start and finish straight for the rolling start, they will form up into a 2x2 formation. There has been talks about the start that we had at Brands Hatch. It was not up to the standard that the stewards deemed acceptable, so all the drivers have been told about the start procedure. So they will have to make sure that they do line up in the 2x2 formation, and to make sure that the grid is all packed up, so that we do have an authentic start, because that was one of the problems that we had at Brands Hatch, even if it did mean that the start was much cleaner than otherwise expected.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's so that people don't get a full advantage as well by being the lead car. They need to slow down, let everyone sort of bunch back up in the double file. So then it's obviously a fair game then from the get-go. So there we are. Right, hopefully now my fixed camera should be fixed. That's ready for T1 when we start the race there. So hopefully we shouldn't have any incidents in T1, as it's nice and wide, so people can escape quite easily without taking someone out if they do misjudge the turn. Unlike Monza. But then saying that, Monza was a great race, wasn't it? We had a pretty clean T1 there, so, and that was in the rain as well, just like the real race.
Yeah, Monza was exceptionally clean. It's probably the cleanest start I've ever seen at a Monza race, and to say it was in the wet as well was incredibly impressive. It just shows that, you know, these guys, they are some of the fastest drivers in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and they were taking it seriously. We've had a couple of niggling issues, like, you know, with the start procedure at Brands Hatch, but we're hoping that that'll all be forgotten about after today's race, and we can move on to focusing on the race results and the race action at hand, because the last thing we want is for a great race to be overshadowed by off-track incidents and discussions.
Absolutely, yeah. So they should start to get back up to a double file shortly. So we've got Samir P2 at the moment alongside Kevin in P1. So fingers crossed for a nice clean lap 1. Because yeah, we do have double penalty points in lap 1, so any accidents is double penalty points. So yeah, we do take our racing very seriously, so that we obviously ensure we have a very clean start at the start of our races, which then ensures obviously a good race at the end of it. But yeah, let's see how that goes.
Yep, so as they are ready to begin now, they are in double file formation. The whole grid is seems to be bunched up quite nicely now, so we will wait for the leader to dictate the pace, and when the lights go out, it is free game.
Green light, give it a look again.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like Samir's already lost a place here. He slowed down a bit.
Oh, we've had contacts. I think was that yes, I think it was Andre Frankie and Samir Brahimi came to blows on the first corner, unfortunately.
That is a bit of a shame, isn't it? We'll just see if I can find Samir. So yeah, so that's
yes, he is. He's way down the field now in last place, unfortunately for Samir Brahimi. So despite qualifying second, he now has all the work to do.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame to see that so early on. The thing is, he was right up beside Kevin at one point, and then for some reason he just slowed down, and then Kevin was a good car length ahead, which then allowed Muir to basically get a good start into T1. So yeah, very shame to see that. We'll have to have a re-look and see what actually happened there.
Yeah, just looking down the field, Kevin Stuck, who started 25th, is already up to 19th place on the first lap. So Kevin Stuck, one of the guest drivers we have here tonight in the BMW M6, having a great start to his race. It has to be said, and he is right on the back of Francisco Gonzalez's McLaren at the moment, so could potentially gain another place before the end of this lap.
Yeah, so apart from those couple of incidents in T1, it's been pretty good so far. So Samir's not having a very good season this time round, unfortunately. He always seems to be the wrong place, wrong time.
It's quite unfortunate for Samir, but it is Kevin Rubernak that leads the race at the moment. Qualified on pole, and he has led away at the start. He's got a 1.2 second gap to Paulo Moya, our winner at Brands Hatch. Just behind him is David Martinez and Amir Hosseini. James Parker in 5th. Important to mention that our winner from Monza, which was Andre Frankie, unfortunately got involved in that accident with Samir. He is down in 21st, so he has a lot of work to do as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So same Andre Frankie's down at P21. Yeah, we'll have to obviously investigate that later on and see what actually happened there, because yeah, so my predictions are out the windows then at the moment with Andre Frankie down to P21 already. But as you say, Pasquale's not racing today, so as long as he gets a good position, he should still be in the podiums.
Yes, and of course, because it's an endurance round tonight, we do have pit stops to do, so it's a longer race. He has more of a chance to make his way back up through the field, and he is a fast driver. You know, we all know that from what we've seen of him in the past 2 races, so there's definitely not much cause for concern for him. In fact, he's up into 18th place at the moment. He's gained a few places there, and he's looking to get past Mercedes of Luca Lozio at the moment. The green 313 Mercedes. So Andre Frankie, unfortunate on his start, but he is starting to make his way through the field.
He is, yeah. He's now up to P18, so he's managed to gain a couple of positions there. Looks like James Parker's starting to close the gap on Amir here at the moment for P5. So we'll see how that sort of plays out at the moment.
Yeah, and of course, James Parker has Steve Strellau, the Season 1 champion, right behind him as well. So it's not like he can he can afford to only look forward towards Amir Hosseini, because if he makes a mistake, he is going to open the door for the Aston Martin #1 behind him to take an opportunity on passing him. Of course, Mike Noble in 7th in the Audi. Very impressive performance from him and his teammate in the 3-hour Zolder race last weekend.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, looks like Steve is starting to close that gap on James as well, so you probably want to keep his eye on that for a minute. So we'll just jump over to Steve Strelo. We'll just jump on board with him to see how he's getting on there. So we've seen these sort of freeway battles going on before, haven't we? Where it usually ends up being the middle car that ends up losing 2 positions from it, as they try to. Well, it's the car in front that usually loses 2 positions. As usually when you've got someone that's having to attack and defend at the same time, that's when their pace sort of slows down, and then the car behind can usually gain the advantage.
Yep, Samir Ibrahimi, who started 2nd and unfortunately had an incident on the first lap, has worked his way up to 22nd, so he did catch the back of the pack and has started to work his way up. He has got Kevin Stuck just ahead of him, about 3/10 just in front of him, so Samir Ibrahimi starting to work his way through the field just the same as Andre Frankie did.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll probably come back to that in a minute. There might be an overtake between those 2 guys, but I will just jump down the field because, say, Samuel Ratz is as the camera catches up. Samuel Ratz has got pressure on from Chris Hokie behind. Looks like we've got quite a bit of action going on at the moment near the midfield as well. So
yeah, and something to just keep in mind is Paolo Moya in 2nd place is 1.8 seconds off Kevin Rubernek at the moment, but he's not exactly clear of 3rd place. David Martinez in the number 300 Aston Martin is just under 0.8 of a second behind him, so Paolo Moya's focus is going to be behind him for the moment, as Rubernek now stretches that lead to 2.1 seconds, so the McLaren going really fast at the moment.
Nice. So I'll leave the top screen on open moment for Steve Strelo and James Parker at the moment, because there might be an overtake with these 2 shortly, as we do flick through the field at the moment, because there is small action going on in other places as well.
Yeah, just having a look at Andre Frankie's in the slipstream of Francisco Gonzalez. He's going to go to the inside. Is he going to get the move done? He's going to be on the outside going into Luffield. Is he going to have the better drive on the McLaren when he comes out of the corner, though he can tuck back into the slipstream? Of course, the slipstream not as effective here as it is at a track like Monza, but still beneficial nonetheless. But I don't think the Porsche has the pace to get past the McLaren right now.
No, looking at it, yeah, we've got us on board with Andre Frankie at the moment just to see the difference there, but the McLaren is pulling away.
Of course, Andre Frankie does have the other very talented Porsche driver, Marcel Pfister, behind him as well. He seems to do very well in the Porsche cars. Had an unfortunate race at Brands Hatch, tagged in an accident, and that was pretty much his race over. But Andre Frankie is not going to settle for 18th place very long. He's really pushing to get past Gonzalez.
He is, yeah. I mean, even with the slipstream, you saw that the McLaren still had the advantage there. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of work for Andre Frankie to try and get past this guy at the moment, because he's definitely put on a bit of a fight, and he's not looking to break under pressure at the moment.
And as you're speaking about pressure, it is James Parker who's under pressure from Samir Ibrahimi, and Mike Noble wants to get on this one as well. Very, very close. I think Samir was alongside James for one moment there, so almost getting the overtake done, but James Parker now having to focus behind him as Amir Hosseini is 1.8 seconds up the road from him.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's still on the top screen there, guys. Just keeping an eye on those guys there at the moment who are having a good battle.
And of course, as I was just mentioning about the move from Steve Strellau, it is Andre Franke who has made the place up on Gonzalez.
He did, yes. Yeah, we did manage to capture that, so that was good to see. We're glad we stayed with him for that time. Franco Gonzalez has also got pressure on behind from Christian Manu.
Now this is getting interesting now. David Martinez is right on the back of Paolo Moya, so the Aston Martin has the pace over the 666 Ferrari at the moment. He was about 0.8 of a second behind on the previous lap. That has obviously closed down by 0.4 now. Moya is dropping away from Kevin Rabernak, who is setting 157s, high 157s, the rest of the field in the 158s and the 159s. Apart from David Martinez in third, who has also set a 157.
Oh, I was just being contacted as well, as he did by Frank Gonzalez, as he just... sorry, a bit of a tongue twister then. As he did manage to get past, but he just got a bit got took out.
It's incredibly unfortunate to see that. That'll be something that'll be looked into after the race for sure. But I think Andre Franke will be glad that he was past them before that incident happened. And speaking of Andre Franke, he has just moved ahead of Miguel Ramos in the 61 Audi. So Andre Franke up to 15th place now. He's doing really well to recover from that start he had.
Absolutely, yeah. So starting back to P21, he's now gained 6 positions so far in the first 12 minutes. Yeah, I mean, there is still chance for him to get a podium today if he continues with this pace. Like I say, we know he's pretty good with his pit strategies, and also it depends on the weather as well, how the weather's going. But it looks still it's showing as sunny, clear, 16 degrees C at the moment. So yeah, all looking good at the moment. So it looks like James Parker has started to open that gap up a bit off Steve Strellau, as we still got on the top corner there, top cam. Just jump back over to the leader to see how the leader's doing at the moment. Currently 2.6 seconds ahead.
Yeah, he's doing really well at the moment. Kevin Rabernak, he's consistently in the 157s, with his best lap being a 157.5. So he is going exceptionally quick at the moment. Paolo Moya has just dipped into the 157.9s as well. So he started to pick up the pace a bit as David Martinez was closing him down. But James Parker is not quite clear of Steve Strellau. He has stretched the gap out slightly. It's not as close as it was before, almost just about half a second now. But he's still going to be focusing behind him because Amir Hosseini is at least 2 seconds up the road from him.
Absolutely, yeah. So just jump over to Chris Hokie again, because he is still trying to put the pressure on Samuel Ratz. Also get an overtake at P14 as well with Alessio.
Just looking a bit further down the field, the battle for 13th place between Vicky, Luca and Andre Franke, of course. Andre Franke on the back of the 313 Mercedes. He is going significantly quicker than the Mercedes. I think Andre Franke is about a second quicker this time round. Yes, he's just set a 157.9 on this lap, which is about 0.7 quicker than Luca Lossio ahead of him. So Andre Franke is going to want to get past this Mercedes fairly quickly.
As I say, he's actually set the exact same time as P2 at the moment, with a 157.981 on the last lap. getting an overtake here by Chris. We'll see how that how this pans out.
Yeah, just a quick update.
He does go on the braking, but he does go a bit wide there, and he does send the other guy wide. So he has a good position back as he has just done. So unfortunately, maybe a bit too over enthusiastic there of trying to take the inside line at that sort of speed.
Someone asking in the chat, have the cars been assigned to the driver or could they choose them out themselves? Yes, in the qualifying round that we had earlier on before the season began, each driver was given their choice of car. You can choose any car you like, but you have to stick with it for the duration of the season. So they were all given the chance to choose whatever car they desired.
That's right, yeah.
And as I was about to say just before the moment between Samuel Ratz and Krasuki, Samir Ibrahimi is up to 19th place. He's just 0.3 of a second behind Marcel Pfister at the moment, so he's going to be looking to move it up to 18th fairly quickly. So not too bad from him at the moment, starting to recover well now.
Absolutely, yeah. So Andre Franke's just managed to get the overtake here on Luciano, sorry. For some reason my mind's just going dead today. I can't even pronounce names. So you have to excuse me.
Yeah, looking through the field now, James Parker pushing really hard, but he still can't seem to break away from Steve Strello, who is just 0.3 of a second behind him now. That gap has come back down again. And Mike Noble just 0.8 of a second behind. He's going to be looking to capitalise on any mistakes these two can make.
Yeah, it looks like Chris is struggling as well in the slipstream, trying to get past the Ferrari here. Really trying his hardest. But Sammy Raps has got the inside line at the moment of the chicane, so yeah, it looks like Sammy Raps has managed to put the head there.
Yeah, the problem is now, though, is that Krasuka has left himself slightly exposed to the Aston Martin of Pau Costa and the Porsche of Christian Veal behind him, so through not getting that move done, he has opened himself up to an attack from behind, and he has given Samuel Ratz a bit of breathing room.
He has, yeah. So this could be quite interesting here between P sort of 12 and P9 at the moment, because they're all quite bundled up there. But Samuel Ratz has managed to put away, done quite opened the gap quite a bit now, up to 1 second gap.
Yeah, looking at the gap now between first and second, Kevin Robernac is still lapping in the 157s. He's the only one consistently lapping in the 157s every single lap, and that is why he has stretched the gap out to 3.5 seconds over Moya. He was actually 0.4 quicker than Moya on that last lap, so he is exceptionally quick here today. So yeah, I don't think you can count him out for a chance at the win. Of course, we have to see how things play out with pit stops, what kind of different strategies people are going to be doing with pit stops, what fuel loads people have been running, have people filled up with enough fuel to get them to their stop, or haven't they gone for a full tank of fuel rather. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Absolutely. So Samir is starting to close the gap here on Marcel Pfister here, so we might get an overtake. As it looks like Samir has got the inside line, but is it enough? We'll see as we come down to the first chicane.
Marcel Pfister going to the inside. He's going to be on the outside for Club.
He's just been sent a bit wide there.
Yep, and I think Samir Ibrahimi has got the move done.
He has, yeah. He just managed to get the move there. So that's a great overtake by Samir. So it looks like Andre Franke is closing the gap on Vicky as well. So putting the pressure on Vicky.
don't mean to interrupt you there, but it is really close between Steve Strellau and James Parker at the moment. Steve Strellau right on the rear end of James Parker. The two Aston Martins going really well here in 5th and 6th at the moment. Doesn't look like Steve Strellau is going to be able to pull off an overtake at the moment, but he is definitely lapping faster than James Parker. James Parker goes slightly wide through the first corner.
We'll just bring that back up on the screen for you guys so you see what we're watching there. So we'll leave James Parker and Steve Strellau, so they're still putting the pressure on at the moment in the top corner there. But also we've still got Andre Frankie putting the pressure on Vicky for P13.
Yes.
So also we've got Chris Hokie and Samuel Ratt still battling it out. So we might have to jump over to them shortly as well. So we've got a lot of action going on right now. Still very early on in the race. So still an hour and 10 minutes to go, or just under an hour and 10 minutes to go. So we'll just jump over to Chris Hokie again quickly to see what's happening there. As he is right up the back end of Samuel Ratt. And this time Samuel Ratt is still managed to get ahead there through the chicane. So
yeah,
defending really well.
This battle between Samuel Ratt and Chris Hokie is actually helping Andre Frankie a lot. They are very close together from 9th place down to Luca Lossio in 15th. It's just about 2.5 seconds splitting all these cars, so they're very close together, and that's helping Andre Frankie put pressure on Vicky Thompson ahead of him. So yeah, the longer that Samuel Ratt can keep all these cars behind him, the better this is going to work out for Andre Frankie at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. So cracking race so far, so much action going on across the field. I might have to jump back over to Andre Frankie because again he's closing that gap on Vicky. But like I said, we've got a nice train of cars here. Anything can happen between these guys. Hopefully there won't be any contact and everyone can sort of get their overtakes nicely done. So it's all about just waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, just having a look down the field, we have Patrick Selva in the pit lane. He is 4 laps down, so not sure if he has come in due to damage reasons, but he has parked his car in the pit lane. So he is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, they're so close here with Andre Frankie and Vicky at the moment. What I will do is I will just jump the other camera back over to... Oh, I don't know if it's going to be an overtake. There was a little bit of contact between James Parker and Steve Strellau in the top corner there, as you might have just seen. But James Parker does manage to keep hold of the front position, but now Steve Strellau is also under pressure with the car behind. So Mike Noble is trying to take advantage of this as well. So we've got 4 cars trying to battle out here at the moment for P5.
Oh, James has gone wide. James Parker has gone wide.
That is such a shame.
Coming through the complex. He has gone wide and he's lost all those places. So that's Steve Strellau, Mike Noble and Kevin Siclari that have passed him. James Parker now down to 8th, unfortunately. Absolutely,
yeah. So just Chris Hokie has managed to get past Samuel Ratt as well. Just managed to capture that as I flip through the cameras. So like I said, we've got so much action going on at the moment. It's quite an unbelievable race so far. We're still only not even a third of the way through the race yet. So, but anything can happen, like I said, when it comes to the pit stops, pit strategies. So yeah, still a long race to go. So it could be anyone's race at the moment. But yeah, it's very unfortunate there to see James Parker end up going wide there after battling out so long.
Yeah, and speaking about how good Andre Frankie's been so far since the start of the race, he has just lost a place to Luca Lossio. So Andre Frankie is back down into 15th place now, so he's got to get back past the 313 Mercedes, which did take quite a while to get past, but Samuel Ratt is still holding up this train of cars at the moment. And I think it is, yes, it's the Aston Martin of Pau Costa now trying to get past him.
Absolutely crazy. So yeah, I'll just jump on so we've got a bird's eye view of the helicam of what's going on there between these guys, because again, anything can happen with of these at the moment.
It has to be said that Samuel Ratzi is holding up the field, but he has done an incredible job to hold Chris Hooker up for as long as he did. And he's going to be hoping that he can hold up Pau Costa as well. There's contact behind.
Oh, that is such a shame to see that.
Yeah, it was the 394 of Vicky Thompson, and I think it was the Porsche of Christian Veal as well that had contact, but that's given Andre Franke an incredible opportunity now to get past. He is on the tail of Vicky's Aston Martin, but I don't think he can get past yet.
Absolutely crazy. So I just want to say that P1 at the moment is currently holding a lead of 4 seconds ahead of P2. So that's Kevin Robernac in P1 at the moment in the McLaren.
Yeah, with the racing action being so close together, things like contact between cars is not rare. But fortunately, it wasn't major contact. Although the Porsche of Christian Veal did get put sideways for a short moment, and he has lost out places. Obviously, there will be an investigation into that after the race by the stewards to see there, but. Luca Lossio has been the big beneficiary of that move, because he managed to get past both Christian and Vicky at the same time, and now he's going to want to close in on Pau Costa, who has still not managed to get past Samuel Ratz.
Oh dear, I don't know if you just read the joke in the chat there, but oh dear. So yeah, so I've left the current race leader at the top of the top screen now at the moment. Like I said, he's got no pressure at the moment.
Don't mean to interrupt you.
Yes.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but we have had a change for second place. David Martinez has passed Paulo Moya for second place. So the Aston Martin number 300 has passed the 666 Ferrari. He was behind him around about 0.4 of a second for quite a few laps now, but didn't really mount any challenges. But he has managed to get past Paulo Moya, so not sure if that was down to a mistake or a legitimate overtake, but the Aston Martin is now ahead of the Ferrari.
Yeah, it's great stuff there. So I don't know if he actually had a mistake there or not. We're worth having a quick look to see what happened, because I didn't like those two was actually that close together at that time for me to even jump over to see what was happening. So yeah, guys, if you're new to the stream, don't forget to obviously click that follow button. Be much appreciated. And if you are Prime subscribers, then do click that as well. Obviously, it helps to pay towards our servers and stuff like that. Be much appreciated. As I said, we've got tier 2 on. Tier 3 is being streamed on our YouTube Redline Motorsport TV channel, which is linked to there, and also tier 2 is being streamed and commentated by Random Call Sign. So just type in Random Call Sign on YouTube and you'll be able to find his channel as well. So yeah, so free streams, free tiers out of the 5 are being live streamed and commentated right now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the other guys are doing in their tiers.
Yeah, just having a look through the replays there. David Martinez got past Paulo Moya coming into Club Corner, so it was a very, very good pass, very clean pass as well. So it was a legitimate overtake, no mistakes from Paulo Moya. I have been seeing on the timing board that Martinez has had the edge over Moya slightly for the last few laps, so no real surprise then that he has got past him.
That's interesting. So that means Amir is about 1 second behind Amir at the moment for P3. So I'll have to keep an eye on that, see if that gap does change. So we'll jump back over to Samir, because he is again working his way up as well. P60 at the moment. He's starting to close that gap on Christian Will at the moment.
Yes, and Andre Frankie has got past Vicky Thompson, so Andre Frankie up to 13th place now, so he's doing well. Both of the drivers involved in contact on the first corner have started to recover their races fairly well in the first half an hour. It's unbelievable that half an hour of the race has gone by already.
Time does fly when you're having fun, as they say. So as we can see there in the top corner, it looks like the top 5 are sort of spread out. I mean, P2 and 3 are within sort of 0.6 seconds of each other at the moment, so I don't know if we're going to get any change there at the moment, but looking at Kevin in P1, he looks to be about, just waiting for the timing boards to change. Saying about 6 seconds ahead at the moment. I'm not sure if that's right. 4.7 maybe. In fact, 4.7 by the looks of it. Just waiting for the gaps to. Right, yeah. So it's now saying 5.7 seconds gap between him and P2. So Kevin is well ahead at the moment in the McLaren.
Yeah.
So unbelievable pace.
Yeah, 6.3 seconds clear after half an hour of racing. He's done everything he needed to do.
We might have. There was
lap time.
Yeah, I just wanted to cut you out there, but it looks like there was a bit of contact there. I'll just see if I can capture that back for you guys. Between Coaster and Rats. It looked like Coaster managed to get the pass on Rats, but there was a bit of contact into the chicane, which then sent Rats off. So we'll just see how that actually goes here through the replay.
This is an overtake that's been coming for a while now, and I'm just wondering, is it...
Yeah, so looking at that, it looks like Rats did turn into Coaster, and Coaster was fair game there.
Yeah, he was definitely ahead coming through the corner, so...
it's such a shame to see that.
Yeah, unfortunate to see, but I'm not sure if Samuel Rats can really apportion blame to Costa there. I think he held his line fairly well. This does mean, of course, Andre Frankie does now have Samuel Rats just ahead of him, and he's going to have to hope he can get past him fairly quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's what's throwing me off from the timing boards, because we've got a guy in the pits at the moment. All the relatives are getting flicked around as guys are getting past Patrick Selva, who's in the pit still.
James Parker starting to recover after the unfortunate off he had when he was being pressured by Steve Strellau. He has closed in onto the back of Kevin Siclari. Now, if you were here for the Brands Hatch race 2 weeks ago, you will remember that Kevin Siclari unfortunately went into the back of James Parker on the last lap of the Brands Hatch race. So I don't think there was any hard feelings between the two post-race, but in regards to this season, they do have a bit of history on track together.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll see how this goes. It's sort of calmed down a bit before the storm now, hasn't it? I mean, we had a bit of a lot of action going on right across the grid for the first about 5 to 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden it started to calm down a bit.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that Andre Frankie has got past Samuel Rats, so he has cleared the blue and chrome Ferrari and is up into 12th place now, and he can see the battle between Pau Costa and Luca Lossio just ahead of him, as Luca Lossio goes to the inside of Pau Costa and seems to get the move done fairly well.
He did,
nice
yeah.
And clean, and that's allowed Andre Frankie to close in on Pau Costa as well.
Yeah, that's good. He's managed to capture that then as well. So some great racing for these guys. So nice and respectful, nice and clean.
Just looking down the timing board, Chris Hookey, who managed to get past Samuel Rats a while ago, is he's in a bit of no man's land at the moment. He is about 13 seconds off of James Parker, but he's got a 5-second gap behind him to Luca Lossio. So Chris, it's fair to say, is having a bit of a lonely race right now, so hopefully he can start to close the gap up to James Parker somewhat.
He is, yeah, but it looks like Andre Frankie has managed to get the pass as well, past Costa, and Costa might end up losing another position by Samuel Ratz. But they're coming up to the first chicane. Samuel Ratz was trying to brake a bit later there, but unfortunately wasn't enough to get the inside line.
Yep, and with that confirmation, the pit window is now open, so within the next 20 minutes, all the cars have to come in for a mandatory pit stop, as I just saw Andre Frankie lose the back end of the Porsche slightly, so he did well to catch that before it turned into an unfortunate accident there, but he's up to 11th place. He's done really well so far, Andre Frankie, but if he does manage to get past Luca Lossio, he has 6 seconds up until Chris Hooker, so he's going to have to really get his clock down once he's past Luca Lossio.
Absolutely. So again, looks like we're getting plenty of action again so far. So it looks like Samuel Ratz is in the pits now.
Yes, and so is Luca Lossio, so that has freed Andre Frankie. Does not have any cars ahead of him, so he can start to put his head down and do some very quick laps. But of course the Mercedes and the Ferrari of Luca Lossio and Samuel Ratz are the first ones in, so... And following them in is also Fabian Schumberger.
There we go. So that's 3 people in the pit so far taking their pit stop. So it'd be interesting to see, as I imagine a lot of people are going to leave it to the last minute to do their pit stops. Thank you for the follow there. Really appreciate that, Reaper Man. Thank you. So guys, yeah, don't forget to follow us on Twitch here, and like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, where Nico is commentating Tier 3 of ACC Season 2. So yeah, do say hi to him as well. So he is on his by himself, unfortunately, commentating, so do try and keep him entertained.
Yeah,
So
just looking now, the gap between Kevin Robernek and David Martinez is stable around 6.4 seconds. So David Martinez looking like he is managing to match Kevin Robernek for the moment. So it's going to be interesting if after the pit stops, can he try and close down Kevin Robernek for a chance at the win here. Obviously, Kevin Robernek, one of the guests that we have here today, hence the red number plate that he has on the leaderboard.
Yeah, he's definitely far from an amateur.
Oh, definitely.
The pace that he's got here is unbelievable, you know, and let's say we've got some very fast guys here in Tier 1. But yeah, I mean, his pace here in the McLaren at Silverstone is unrivaled at the moment. So, and he's actually got the fastest lap of the race so far, hasn't he, with 1:57.5. Who's second at the moment with their lap time? So Mir, who's in P4, is closest with a lap time 1:57.6. Again, thank you for the follow, guys. Really appreciate it.
Paulo Muya has dropped off quite a bit from David Martinez, 2.3 seconds between the two of them now. So David Martinez, once he got past Paulo Muya, has just stretched the gap really well. And yeah, he's still matching the pace of Kevin Robernek really well. He's actually taken 0.3 of a second out of Kevin Robernek in the previous sector. So is that an indication that the McLaren is starting to struggle now compared to the Aston Martin?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So we've still got just over 15 minutes of the pit window still, so a lot of people have still yet to pit.
Yes, and something interesting I've just noticed from the pit stops that we've had is that Luca Lossio, the 313 Mercedes, has come out behind Samuel Ratz. Now, if you remember, Luca Lossio was 2 places ahead of Samuel Ratz before the pit stop. So, yeah, Luca Lossio has definitely had a slower pit stop than Samuel Ratz. Of course, that could be fuel-related. Depends on how much fuel Luca Lossio was putting in his car compared to Samuel Ratz, so it could be an indication of how much extra fuel Samuel Ratz has been carrying throughout the start of the race. That could also explain why he was slower than the cars behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's all down to pit stop or pit strategies. You know, we don't know how much fuel these guys are putting on, where they are doing a complete split. 50-50 split with fuel, or whether they're literally going in fully loaded with fuel and then just topping up for the race. Yeah, that's something we don't really know right now. So this is where this pit strategy is really going to play key with the final positions.
Yeah, Miguel Ramos, the number 61 Audi, is now in the pit lane as well, so he is serving his mandatory pit stop. We still have 14 minutes and 11 seconds of the mandatory pit window to go. You will start to see a lot more people come in after the 10-minute mark, I would imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll leave the top screen with on board with P1 at the moment with Kevin, because he's quite an idol to most people there, so we just see how his driving style is. So yeah, that's currently Kevin for P1. So absolutely smashing those lap times at the moment with 157s.
Yeah, I believe it's been him and David Martinez are the only 2 drivers that have been consistently in the 57s all the way throughout the race. A few other drivers occasionally dipping into the 57s, but those 2 have been the consistent 157 club for the duration of the race.
Absolutely, yeah. So it looks like it's battle of the ACC devs here at the moment between P20 and P19.
Yeah, work office pride on the line here between Kevin Stuck and Gergo Panker. So yeah, whichever one wins this battle will go into Monday morning with a big grin on their face. So a lot of pride on the line between those 2.
Well, that's if they're not already split up for the Christmas break already. I know a lot of people would have broken up today for Christmas. But as we know, devs don't get holidays, do they? They've got to keep working.
I was always under the assumption that they just live at work.
Absolutely. Life is a dev.
Interesting battle developing between these 2 as Gogo Panker is closing in on Kevin Stuck. The lime green Ferrari seems to have the pace over the BMW of Kevin Stuck, but it's not able to get past him quite yet. Of course, these 2 have had quite good starts. They were at the back of the grid at the start of the race, and they're currently in 19th and 20th place at the moment. However, the 3 behind them have all pitted.
Yeah, like I said, I believe a lot of them are going to leave it to the last minute to pit, fuel up and change the tyres.
Oh, and there's contact there between Kevin Stuck and Keko Panker, so the office rivalry unfortunately getting a bit too heated, and Kevin Stuck almost beached on the anti-cut curb as well, so quite unfortunate there, but it's unfortunate there. The 2 Kunos devs unfortunately colliding on track. I
Oh
wonder
dear.
if Gergo Panker's getting a Christmas card this year from Kevin Stone.
Well, it's probably not after that. Oh dear. I imagine when the devs watch this back and realise we caught that. But it's such a shame, you know. It looks like they were still having a good race battle there between them two. We're going to jump over to Samir and Costa, because they're actually at the moment having a battle.
Yep, as you focus on that, Amir Hosseini has completed his mandatory pit stop, and we have Andre Frankie just coming out of the pit lane, as I believe Christian Veal as well coming out of the pit lane. So both of them have served their mandatory pit stops.
Interesting stuff. So it looks like we've managed to get all three of our, at least three of our 4 drivers into the top 10 now. So we've got James Parker P7, Chris Hokie P8, Samir's P10, and Vicky's P11 at the moment. These guys haven't pitted yet, but I imagine they've all got similar pit strategies between them all, as they do seem to work together a lot, sharing setups and stuff, as they're all in the same car. Samir actually is just going into the pit, so maybe not. That's maybe my words, isn't it?
And Steve Strelau is serving his pit stop at the moment, so he shall be out fairly sharpish as well, as Francisco Gonzalez in the 722 McLaren comes in, followed by Christian Manu.
Yeah, there we are. So Marcel P. Pfister, he works at Fanatec, and as you can see, he's gone with the Podium Series colours for his livery. I'll just bring them in so you can get a... There we go. So this is where it's going to start getting interesting now, because obviously people start to spread out a bit, and then literally until everyone starts taking their pit stops, this is where positions are all over the shop.
Yes, we never quite know where everyone is going to come out until the pit stops are finished, but the fact that some people have come out ahead of others when they were close on track is an indication of how their pit stop strategy has played out. And I am just looking through the leaderboard at the moment, and I believe we have lost Luca Lossio.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Because he was having a pretty good race earlier.
Yes, we did start the race with 25 cars, and while Patrick Silva has been in the pit lane for about 18 laps now, he is still in the race, so he does still count on the leaderboard, but Luca Lossio has disappeared.
Yeah, he sure has. So that's a bit of a shame. I don't know whether that's disconnect or game issue, or whether he's just... I think he's had an incident, has he? Car 68, no, I can't see any incidents reported by him, so he hasn't gone off into the wall or anything.
He was running in car 313.
Yes, you're right, yeah, so I was looking at Fabian then. My bad. No, again, we're saying that. No, that's 113. Yeah, no, nothing at all. Nothing showing there of an incident or anything. So I don't know, like I said, if that's a disconnect or... Interesting. So quite a few people in the pits now. Kevin's gone into the pits. Also, Vicky is just coming out the pits now. The just jump back over to P1 to see how P1's doing, because obviously he's going to have a bit of traffic now until some of these guys pit.
Yeah, just
stop and go penalty for speed in the pit lane for car 36.
Oh, that is very unfortunate. Car 36. Who is that?
P15, Dianardo.
Oh, that is very, very unfortunate there. Pick up a penalty. I can quickly confirm, someone has just confirmed it in the chat as I was watching the replay, that yes, Luca Lossio his game has crashed.
That's unfortunate.
I did see in the replay as he was coming into Maggots and Beckett's, his car just started flying upwards and then disappeared, and that's the end of his replay. So, unfortunate game issue there for Luca Lossio. He was doing really well, so that will sting, unfortunately, for him.
Absolutely, he was having quite a good race himself, wasn't he? But yeah, unfortunately, not much we can do there. Thank you for the follow there, really appreciate that.
Yeah, someone's just asking how long was the race. It's an hour and a half race. We have just under 40 minutes left to go and 4.5 minutes left in the pit window. Paolo Moya has just come out of the pit lane, as has Mike Noble and Kevin Seclari. We still have Kevin Robernick, James Parker, Chris Hooker, Marcel Pfister, and Gergo Panker still need to do their pit stops.
Excellent. Well, thanks for all the follows there, guys. Really appreciate that. There's like 3 or 4 in a row there, so thank you. Yeah, guys, if you are like Prime watchers, Amazon Prime watchers, then you do get a free chance to Prime us, and then we get a little bit from that. It doesn't cost you anything for the Prime, but yeah, everything helps us. So Kevin's now just gone into the pits. So that James Parker is now going to be holding P1 currently until he decides to pit. Just waiting for the standing boards to catch up. As I say that, but James Parker has gone into the pits now. So this is going to get very interesting. Chris Hokey's still out at the moment, which is now going to put him up to P1 shortly once he gets past the pits. Depending on Kevin. Kevin is still in the pit, so yeah, so Chris Hokey will end up holding P1 currently for a bit.
Yeah, and it is Raffaele Dinardo who is serving his stop-go penalty at the moment for speeding in the pit lane. James Parker still in the middle of his pit stop, but Marcel Pfister has now come into the pit lane, so it's just Chris Hooker out there that needs to pit now.
Yes, yeah, that's literally it. And someone's just managed to clear their stop and go. I believe that was Dinardo, who's now P21. So he's ended up losing 6 positions there. So he was P15 before he had a stop and go penalty. So now down to P22.
Yeah, and something that's just cropped up on my radar is that Amir Hosseini is in 10th place. I think he's just about to move up into 9th because of Marcel Pfister being in the pit lane. But yeah, 9th place for Amir Hosseini at the moment. He was up in 5th, I believe, or 4th. So he has lost quite a few places in the pit stops. So it's going to be interesting to see what his strategy is. Maybe he had to take more fuel than other cars around him, and that has cost him some time, maybe.
Quite possibly. Yeah. Very hard to know at this stage.
Also, something to just point out is that David Martinez was behind Kevin Robernack before the pit stops. It was a 6.1 second gap. That gap is now down to 4.6 seconds. So not sure if David Martinez gained that time during the pit stops, or if he has managed to close down the McLaren on fresh tyres. Of course, David Martinez came in before Kevin Robernack. So whether any fresh tyres have managed to get him a bit up to pace quicker than the McLaren, but the gap between the two cars at the front has gone down.
Absolutely, yeah. So thanks for the Twitch Prime there. Really appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Chris Hooker is serving his pit stop at the moment, so he is the last car that was required to pit. So he has finished that. And car number 300, David Martinez. I was just saying how well he's doing. He's just been given a drive-through penalty for exceeding track limits.
Oh, not good. Especially as we're coming close to the final third of the race here. Yeah, that's really going to mess things up for him. That's definitely going to lose him quite a few positions there, I'd say, with the drive-through.
Yeah, so David Martinez, who was potentially hoping to close the gap to Kevin Robernick to challenge for a win here today, has now unfortunately got a drive-through penalty, and he is going to be out of contention for the win once he serves that. He has 3 laps to do so, and maybe that could be an indication of... he's been setting incredibly quick lap times, but if you are extending the limits of the track and you do it too much, you are going to be punished. And his previous lap time was a 1:57.1, which is quicker than anyone else has set throughout the race so far. So maybe some track extending involved in that lap time.
Absolutely, yeah. So at the moment, currently, all the gaps have sort of opened up right now. So we've got no real close battles so far. Everyone's sort of between sort of 1, 2 seconds, even 3 seconds apart at the moment. So we'll see how things pan out for the next sort of 30 odd minutes. So yeah, 2 laps remaining for car 300 there. Which is Martez and P2 to do his drive-through. Otherwise, if he doesn't, you end up getting DQ'd.
Now, I was talking earlier about how lonely a race Chris Hooker was having, with a massive gap in front of him and behind him. Well, only 2 seconds behind him now is Andre Franke, so he will have company a bit sooner than he probably would like. He has an 11.3 second gap to James Parker ahead of him, so that gap unlikely to be closed down before the end of the race.
Absolutely, yeah. So Samir is starting to close that gap again on Samuel Ratz for P12. So I'll keep that in the top corner there for you guys. I might jump over to him shortly if he does close that gap even more. Just saying that he may actually do, so we'll just jump over to him and jump on board with Samir Abriabi.
The drive-through penalty that David Martinez has managed to accumulate, that does mean that, barring an absolute disaster, Kevin Robernick probably has the race win in the bag at the moment. Once Martinez pits for the drive-through, it will be over 11 seconds between him and Paulo Moya, who currently sits 3rd.
Absolutely, yeah. So again, the battle's still on here between Samir and Samuel Ratz at the moment. There might be another battle going on between Marcel P. Pfister as well, so I might just jump over to him shortly to see if there is an overtake. So I'll keep these guys up on the top screen shortly, just so I jump over to Marcel, because again he's having a good battle here with Francisco Gonzalez.
Yeah, and David Martinez has 1 remaining lap to serve his drive-through penalty, so if he does not serve it this lap, he will be disqualified.
It looks like we've got lots of battles on again at the moment, so this is going to get interesting. We'll just change the camera for you guys so you get a bit of understand what's going on the top screen there between Samuel Ratz and Samir, and also on the main screen with Marcel P. Pfister.
Well, we've been speaking about incredible lap times, and David Martinez managed to set a 1:57.1 as his fastest lap, and it was on that lap that he got given the drive-through penalty for extending track limits too much. I can now inform you that Kevin Rubernak is the first person this race to dip into the 156s, 156.928. That is an incredibly fast lap on a race stint.
Absolutely. So just goes to show the fresh tyres are helping there. So yeah, awesome to see these crazy lap times. Because looking at them, Mike Noble was probably the next fastest there with his last lap of 157.4. So that's put Kevin 5 tenths faster on the last lap. Who's currently holding P1. So yeah, so insane lap times there. So I was wondering, yes, Martins looks like he's gone into the pits to take his drive-through.
Yep, so that does now hand second place to Paolo Moya. It will also move Stephen Strellau, Mike Noble, and it should move Kevin Siclari, Amir Hosseini and James Parker up as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So Samir did manage to get the overtake on Samuel Ratson as well. So that's put Samir up to P12. So it looks like the battle is on with these guys at the moment for P17.
Yep, and I can confirm that the drive-through for David Martinez has demoted him down to 8th place. He is just about... I think he's about... is it 5? No, it's 6 seconds clear of Chris Hooker at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite a big gap at the moment, isn't it? Christian Wheel is starting to close the gap on Samuel Ratz as well. We'll see what's happening here, but at the moment it looks like Marcel Profisto is trying to go for the overtake and get the inside line.
He is going to have the inside line. Yeah, very good move there, but he's going to have to make sure he doesn't outbrake himself defending from the McLaren. Although the McLaren not looking like he wants to challenge to take the position back. So, yeah, good driving there from both Marcel Pfister and Francisco Gonzalez.
Absolutely, yeah. So, yeah, great racing from these guys. So, yeah, nice overtake there.
You were mentioning the battle between Samuel Ratz and Christian Viel. I can now tell you that Vicky Thompson has joined onto the back of those two, so we have a three-way battle for 13th at the moment.
Yeah, we'll just jump over to see where these guys are at the moment, yeah. So yeah, so it looks like we might have a three-way battle here going on with these guys at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll keep that on the top screen for a minute. We'll just flick through the drivers to see how they're doing on. So P1 here. So Kevin Rubernak is doing very well so far, with over a 12.6 second gap.
He's definitely come here to the home of British racing and shown everyone how it's done. But Christian Viel has now got alongside Samuel Ratz in the Ferrari. The Porsche seems to have the pace over the Ferrari. They're going to be side by side, but Christian Viel is going to be on the outside of the corner, which hands the advantage to Samuel Ratz. Of course, Vicky right behind them as well. So Christian Viel can't afford to make too many mistakes. He's going to look at a move coming into club. They come very close. Christian Viel's going to have the inside line on Samuel Ratz, but can't quite fit the Porsche through the gap there, and Samuel Ratz does hold on to net for 13th place for now.
Yeah, some cracking racing going with these guys, so really good to see. So yeah, thanks for the follow there, really appreciate that.
Yeah, Samuel Rat's not being too phased by Christian Veal's attempts at getting past him, but Christian Veal is going to have another go here coming out, and the Porsche does seem to have the straight line speed in the slipstream, but as soon as the Porsche pulls out to get past the Ferrari does then seem to get an extra bit of pace, and Christian Veal just can't get alongside him coming into Luffield now. He's got the Aston Martin of Vicky right behind him, so he's going to have to be really careful as Samuel Ratz runs slightly wide. That's going to give Christian Veal the chance to go up the inside, and now he is past the Ferrari.
Awesome. Great overtake there. Unfortunately, Samuel Ratz did feel a bit of pressure there and did go off into the sand, into the gravel even. Yeah, thanks for the follow again. Really appreciate that.
And Samuel Ratz's concerns are not over because he has Vicky behind him. And Vicky has been setting some good lap times, about 8/10 quicker than Samuel Ratz on that previous lap. And now Vicky's Aston Martin in the slipstream coming along the Hangar Straight is going to look to maybe try and go around the outside of the Ferrari. Coming here,
it's gone sideways a bit.
Slightly sideways, and that's lost so much grip there, and not being able to get the car hooked back up.
Have some fantastic racing going on at the moment. You know, right across the field so far. But I might have to jump over to Marcel Pfister, who might be getting a position off Ramos, who's P16. So I'll just move the top camera over a second just to catch those two guys to see if they do get an overtake as well. So that's on the top camera there for currently P15 and P16. Sorry, P16, P17.
Championship leader Andre Franke in 10th place at the moment, so doing quite a good recovery since the first lap incident, and of course the driver that he had the first lap incident with, Samir Ibrahimi, in 11th as well, so both of them have recovered really well so far this race.
Absolutely, yeah. So we might get an overtake again by Marcel Pfister. So he's been driving pretty well today as well. Slowly get himself up the field.
Yeah, of course, Marcel Pfister had a very unfortunate race in Brands Hatch where he had a racing incident with Chris Hooker, which did unfortunately give his Porsche a considerable amount of damage and did not hand him a very good finishing position, but he's looking to do better this time round as Vicky is really close to the back of Samuel Ratz again. Not close enough to do a move, but probably not too long till we see that Aston Martin challenge the Ferrari again.
Absolutely, so I'll keep those two battles going on screen for the minute. See if we do get any change there. So it might be a change of positions here between Kevin Stuck and Dinardo in P21. So that looks like it might be brewing shortly.
Yeah, just looking at that now, Dinardo in the slipstream of the BMW onto the Hangar Straight. Kevin Stuck looking to cover the inside line. The Ferrari wants to go around the outside. Not quite all, but Kevin Stuck gets the car slightly sideways, and that's allowed both Ferraris to go past him.
That is such a shame, but yeah, unfortunately for Kevin there, he gave away two positions as he tried to keep the back end steady. But unfortunately, he did lose a bit of grip and lost two positions from that. So I'll jump back over to Vicky to see how she's getting on now. So that was awesome to manage to capture that quickly as that sort of happened.
Yeah, Vicky very close as the Ferrari of Samuel Ratz makes a mistake going through Maggots and Beckett's. That has allowed the Aston Martin of Vicky
Oh,
to get
and there's
ahead, and
contact between them.
both of them.
Oh dear.
Oh, unfortunate contact there between the Ferrari and the Aston Martin, and that has allowed Miguel Ramos, Marcel Pfister, and Francisco Gonzalez to get past both of them.
Just see what happened there as well. So I've just got that on screen as a replay, just to see what made them make contact.
Vicky on the outside, slight tap from Samuel Ratz.
That is such a shame to see that, but they are still at it. So Vicky has managed to gain the position.
Yeah, Vicky will be very frustrated with that, and it's another incident that will be investigated after the race. But out in front at the moment, with just under 20 minutes to go, is still Kevin Rubernak, and he has a sizable lead over Paolo Moya. At the moment, 35 laps down.
Yeah, there was almost a change then with Marcel as well, and Ramos, but Ramos managed to keep his position currently, so there might be another overtake with these guys as well. And also, we've also got Francisco Gonzalez, who's behind, trying to take full advantage of these guys battling ahead.
And Marcel Pfister in the slipstream of the number 61 Audi. Probably not going to look at a move into the first corner as the Audi goes wide. That's allowed the Porsche to get a great run into Maggots and Beckett's. Are they going to go side by side? Is Marcel Pfister going to get in front? No, he's not. He's going to back out of it.
He's going to play safe, yeah. I don't blame him, to be honest, especially this later on in the race.
Better of it, but now he does have the run on the number 61 Audi. He's forced the Audi to go wide on exit. So this has allowed...
The McLaren has managed to go side by side of the Porsche as well, that.
Yeah, the McLaren putting pressure. The McLaren actually in the slipstream of the Audi, gaining pace. The McLaren will be on the outside for the corner. I think Marcel Pfister will have it covered, but he's got pressure behind him now that he really didn't need.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has turned into a fantastic race between these guys.
And of course, to top that all off, they've now got Vicky and Samuel Ratz for company, who were battling ahead before they had contact between each other. So Marcel Pfister is going to want to clear Miguel Ramos as quick as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great racing going on here at the moment with these guys. Really, really good. So yeah, as you can see from the relatives at the moment, there's not too much going on ahead at the moment. Most of the battling is right here, right now, where we are, between these guys here fighting for P14 at the moment. So the guys from...
I can just confirm that Francisco Gonzalez has run wide. That's allowed Vicky to get through, and Samuel Ratz is looking to have a move on the inside. Ooh, needs slight contact with the 722 McLaren as well. So another piece of contact for the Ferrari, the 808 Ferrari.
But Marcel Pfister has managed to get past.
So Marcel Pfister getting past the Audi of Miguel Ramos. He's going to look to break away from him now before Vicky can catch up to the back and get past Ramos as well.
Yeah, it just goes to show that, you know, when you're attacking another car, you know, how much it starts to slow you guys down and allow the fuel behind to suddenly catch up on you. You know, as we've just seen here.
Yeah, Vicky having a look at the inside of Miguel Ramos, and she is going to go side by side as they come into club corner. Miguel Ramos is going to have the inside into the entry, but Vicky outbrakes him. She's going to have the inside line coming into the second.
There's contact!
Contact! Again, contact!
Oh no, that's just not Vicky's day, is it, at the moment? Yeah, again, that's going to have to be looked into, unfortunately. Shame to see that.
Vicky has had the most unfortunate of luck throughout the entire season so far. She got a drive-through penalty for spinning in the pit lane at Monza. She was obviously involved in an accident that she could not avoid at Brands Hatch, and that rather ruined her race. And now she's been caught up with 2 accidents as well here at Silverstone. It's just not Vicky's season to this year.
It's not, no, unfortunately. So yeah, that's going to be another one to be investigated. A bit of a shame to see that so later on in the race. I mean, you know, so many positions getting changed right now with this sort of midfield. I feel maybe Ramos should have just hold off a bit on his, you know, braked a bit more. So Fabian, he's pretty much been lonely most of the race. Currently in P19 there at the top.
Yeah, he had a fairly lonely race at Monza. Unfortunately, did not race at Brands Hatch due to an internet connection issue just before the start of the race. But sitting in P19 at the moment, as you say, fairly lonely race for him. Quite similar to Chris Hooker as well, who's had a fairly lonely race as well. So yeah, this race for them seeming a bit more like a practice session, really.
Absolutely, yeah. So Vicky's now down to P18 from that. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be some harsh penalties from the stewards from a couple of incidents we've seen from this race so far. But I mean, generally it hasn't been that bad. It's been pretty clean up to that point. Only a couple of incidents on, well, 2 cars had an incident in a lap 1, T1, and then Vicky's had a couple of incidents where she's been took out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the stewards go about the penalties, but the close battles between some of these midfield cars aren't quite over yet, because Samuel Ratz is on the back of Francisco Gonzalez. So these cars that have had quite an exciting race so far are still going to have somewhat of an exciting
contact as well.
Samuel Ratz has got contact
going
again.
on? Jeez, what is going on today? I'll just bring that back up on the main screen there, guys, and give us a bit of a bird's eye view of what happened there.
Yeah, so Samuel Ratz got into the slipstream of Francisco Gonzalez, and I think he broke much later into the corner than Gonzalez did. He did catch him up quite a lot into the entry, and here he goes to the inside and he just clips him on the back end. Unfortunate there, but back to the live coverage. I can tell you that Samuel Ratz has allowed Gonzalez back past him. Yeah,
so his penalty will be halved for that. The main thing is it's good sportsmanship. I mean, as long as you give the position back, then you know you're going to get half the penalty is what you would have got. So, well, this has allowed Vicky to now catch back up, so she should be back into the race as well.
I was about to say that Vicky, who's probably not in a great mood at the moment, considering how this race has gone so far today, is now right on the back of one of the drivers she's already had an incident with today. So let's just hope the red mist hasn't descended upon the 394 Aston Martin.
Absolutely, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll leave that at the top corner still with these guys still racing. And just jump back through, see how P1's doing at the moment. I guess everyone's just sort of getting a bit desperate now, aren't they, near the end of the race. There's just over 11 minutes left. So I guess people are trying their best to do what they can. But it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, that James might be starting to close the gap on Admir. Ozzini, who's in P6. I'm not mistaken, unless it's just the pits.
think he was a tenth faster than Hosseini on the previous lap. But he's going to have to catch him much quicker than that if he wants to make an effort for 6th place.
Yeah, so my relatives. Yeah, sorry, yes, that's right. My relatives are shooting off a bit. That's what's confusing me there. I don't know why it said he was only 0.6 seconds off, but looking at the timing board, he's actually about 4 seconds off. So a little bit of confusion.
Yeah, and it's just as you were saying that, Vicky backing out of a move on Samuel Ratz through Magnus and Beckett's after their last side-by-side moment that they had through there. She thinks better of it and leave the overtake to the hanger straight. She's going to try and go around the outside, doesn't quite have the grip and the speed to go around the outside of the Ferrari, but she is definitely faster than Samuel Ratz ahead of her.
Absolutely, so yeah, very interesting to see there. So top screen is rear cam of Samuel Ratz. Yeah, absolutely, I do agree. It has been some pretty great racing going on so far. Only a few minor mistakes this late in the race, but other than that, it's been pretty interesting throughout the grid.
Yeah, it kind of speaks back to the 3-hour race that we had at Zolder. We had some brilliant racing there, and over the course of the 3 hours it was kept fairly clean as well, so something that seems to be getting carried over into the Season 2 races as well, hopefully across all the tiers. And yeah, because I mean, no one likes to see people getting taken out for for no reason, and mistakes happen, of course, but it's not why we're here. We're not here to see people get pushed off the road intentionally to force overtakes. So it's nice to see some good, clean racing.
Absolutely, yeah. Totally. I just noticed Nico is out of the chat. I don't know what's happened to him with the tier 3 stream. We'll have a look to see if that's still going ahead. I don't know what's happened.
Did you say that Vicky on the back of Samuel Ratz again? She just followed him through at the end of the hanger straight. Now she's coming down into club behind him as well. Still not close enough to make a move on the Ferrari of Samuel Ratz. She's definitely got the pace. About 10th quicker on the previous lap, so she's definitely being held up by the 808 Ferrari.
Absolutely, yeah, you can see this. It's very frustrating, as it's all the hard work she's done so far to get past Samuel Ratz earlier on. She's now having to redo that all again. So as I mentioned earlier about David Martins, who's P8, he was P2 earlier, got the drive through, and that's obviously knocked him down 7 places from his previous position. So
yeah, unfortunate for David Martinez. Of course, it was track extending that gave him that drive-through penalty. So unfortunate to see that, but coming out of Cops now and into Maggots and Beckett's, Vicky is really close to Samuel Ratz again. Seems like the Aston Martin has the edge over the Ferrari on the exit of the corners as we now come onto the hanger straight. Vicky looking to use slipstream. Is she going to look to the outside again? She's not going to commit to a move around the outside, not quite close enough. She's going to get right onto the back of the Ferrari as we go down Vale and into the club complex. She brakes much later than the Ferrari. She's going to try and have the inside line. She doesn't have the inside line, not quite close enough, and Samuel Ratz has done some good defending there.
Yeah, very, very clever there. I think Vicky was hoping that Samuel Ratz was going to go a bit wide and try and get the inside line before club chicane there, but unfortunately that didn't pan out for her. Yeah, the battle's still on at the moment with these guys. So what I'll do is I'll keep this up on the top corner for a minute, and we'll just jump through some other drivers and see how they're getting on, and hopefully if anything does happen between Samuel Ratzer and Vicky, we'll be back to it. So we'll just jump back over to our pole driver at the moment, who's absolutely storming ahead.
Yeah, Kevin Rubernak here as guest tonight has well, shown the field how it's done, hasn't he? Absolutely incredible performance in qualifying, and he's carried that over into the race brilliantly. 16.9 seconds clear of Paulo Moya, who was our winner last time out at Brands Hatch. So very interesting to see how Kevin Rubernak has come into this race with the intention of winning, and it looks like he's going to go and do that as well.
Yeah, very true, yeah.
Vicky in the slipstream on the hanger straight of Samuel Ratz yet again, flashing of the lights to try and distract Samuel Ratz. We have gone into dusk, so of course they do have the headlights on now. And she's still not quite close enough to the 808 Ferrari. Much better on the brakes into club, but not close enough to make a move.
Absolutely. So we'll just jump over to P2 for a minute to see how he's doing. I'm pretty much racing alone at the moment, but it looks like there might be a battle going on brewing between, if I believe that is right, between Mike Noble and Kevin Sakari. I'll just double check. Might actually be a back marker, actually. We'll just find out shortly. So it looks like actually, yeah, Kevin Salami is about 4 seconds off of Mike Noble. So yeah, my broadcasting relatives are not that accurate at the moment compared to the standings on screen that you guys see.
Yeah, and I'm just looking back here at the 20th place battle between Gergo Panka and Christian Manu. Christian Manu has managed to catch up to Gergo Panka. Of course, Gergo Panka, one of the Kunos devs here with us tonight, along with Kevin Stuck. So nice to see them doing, but Christian Manu just closing in onto the back of him, as Vicky Thompson is right on the back of Samuel Ratz again, coming out of Maggots and Beckett. She's much closer this time round though, as she is in the slipstream. Is she going to commit to the outside line as we come into Stowe? She's going to have a look at it, but she's going to tuck right back in behind the Ferrari, maybe have a look into club, as she has for the past few laps, not been quite close enough yet. She is going to outbrake Samuel Ratz, try and have the inside line, but Samuel Ratz has defended really well, and it's just not enough for Vicky to get past.
Yeah, Samuel Ratz is doing some awesome driving at the moment, defending his position. So very hard person to get past. As I think Vicky's found out earlier on, didn't she? Because she was battling well between behind him. Same with Samir as well earlier on. But I'll leave this up on the top screen for the minute with these two guys battling out, and we'll just change the cam so you guys have a better see what's going on between them two. And also heading back to Manu, who's still having a battle with Panka in front.
Yeah, Manu just moving over for Steve Strellau, who is lapping them, so that has allowed Panka to gap him slightly, but of course Panka is going to have to move over soon for Strellau as well, so that should close those two back up again.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll also jump back over to Vicky again.
Right, man, leader is on the final lap.
So we have got, that is the final lap that the leader's on, so just over 30 seconds left of the race.
Yeah, and it's been an absolute masterclass from Kevin Rubernak today in the black and pink McLaren. He has he's come in here to be a guest tonight. Very grateful to have him here with us, and he has shown everyone how to do it here at Silverstone. And he's done it in style as well, of course, setting the fastest lap in, I think, practice, qualifying and the race. So it's going to be the full hat trick for Kevin Rubernak here today.
Absolutely, yeah. British car, British track. He's done very well for the McLaren team. So yeah, well done to him. Yeah, thanks for the follows there, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So again, obviously, if you have got Twitch Prime, then do use that. I mean, it is free if you are a Prime subscriber to Amazon Prime. And obviously, it's free to you guys to subscribe to us. And obviously, we get a little something from that. So yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, we still keep the top corner on at the moment. There is still battling going on between Samuel Ratz and Vicky at the moment. So we'll keep that going until, in case we do, we actually get a change of position between them two. So,
yeah, interesting.
Thank you,
Kevin
guys. We
Rubernak
appreciate the
actually behind these two. He hasn't lapped them yet, but he is behind them, fairly close as well. So Vicky's going to be hoping that
something happens.
They get to the line before he does, because she's just run too close to the inside line.
Too desperate by the looks of it. Yeah.
Coming through cops, and I think Vicky has now thrown away the chance of overtaking Samuel Ratz as Kevin Rubernak finishes the race.
That is such a shame. Yeah. So there we go. So Kevin has managed to get P1. Steve Strado's coming around the corner for P2. So that's interesting. So something has happened. We've managed to miss. We've missed something. Yeah. So Steve Strado is now up to P2. So yeah, something has happened there. So Steve Strado managed to take P2. Mike Noble comes in for P3. Kevin Siclari manages to get P4. Yeah, strange. I don't know what happened there. Unfortunately, we missed that bit with Maru, but he's ended up getting P5. So yeah, he was P2 for the majority of the race.
Hang on a second. I think I might have just caught it on the replay. So he was coming through. He was going through Abbey and onto the farm curb, and he caught the inside curbing, and it spun him out into the gravel trap. And that cost him an enormous amount of time. So that is why Palomilla has lost those places on the final lap, making a big mistake, and it's cost him massively.
Oh, that is such a shame, especially said on the final lap as well. 90-minute race. He got P2 for the majority of the race there, and then unfortunately just messed it up on the last lap, which obviously lost him 3 positions from that. But there we are, guys. There's the final standing. So absolutely awesome race from these guys. We've had it's been absolutely mental right across the grid actually, especially for the first half of the race. And obviously pit strategies really changed, mixed up the field for the second half of the race. But yeah, no, we've had some awesome battles going on there, and obviously a couple of minor accidents happen here and there, unfortunately, but generally a pretty clean race. So anyway, yeah, thanks guys for coming along and subscribing to us. Really appreciate it. It's been absolutely amazing to obviously stream and commentate to you guys, and obviously show you off tier 1 and what Redline are obviously capable of doing. So yeah, this is obviously tier 1 of 5 that we're actually running for ACC. So yeah, we're only round 3 at the moment, so we will be back in a fortnight with round 4 for the ACC season 2. Also, not this Monday but next Monday, they have the ACC Porsche Cup season running as well. That runs bi-weekly as well, on the same weeks as this does, so every Monday and Friday bi-weekly. Other than that, we have got some plans in the works for a 6-hour endurance event. Looking for the end of January to run this. So do keep your eyes peeled for that, because that's going to be a mega race, or a mega event actually. So it all depends what happens with the DLCs and what we get from ACC, and if we can actually run this event. And if we can, then yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. 6 hours with driver swaps. So we're going to hopefully get at least 40 cars on track, with at least 3 drivers per car, you know, so it's going to be absolutely awesome to check that out. But otherwise, if you guys want to check out the 3 hours as old as we did with the driver swaps, I mean, the videos there as well. If you go through the videos there on Twitch or on YouTube, you can check that out as well. You know, we had an absolute cracking race there with driver swaps for the 3 hours as older. So yeah, really good. Definitely worth a watch there, guys. But other than that, thank you very much for coming along. Really appreciate you guys obviously coming to view us, and we will see you again soon. So yeah, and thank you, Ryan, for commentating with us today.
Yeah, it's been a great race to commentate on, and as you said, keep your eyes peeled for the 6-hour event that we will have some news on fairly soon. But apart from that, we will see you in 2 weeks' time for the Paul Ricard endurance race.
Absolutely, yeah. Well done, guys. Well, thanks a lot again, and we'll see you again soon. And also, again, thanks for the follows and everything. Really appreciate that. Cheers, guys. Good night.